homepage, and we debuted it in New Orleans last year. And since then, we've been going along, updating. There were originally about 45 product guides, which were little papers on everything from insulation to horticulture to construction uses. And the committee has been basically going through a process of teleconferences, and we pick different subjects and we rewrite them. We figure out what's needed in terms of photos, if there's graphs needed, if there's tables of data that need to be checked, we go back and recheck those. And at each meeting, the committee meets on telephone. Catherine usually has on her computer and in all our computer screens the current subject we're working on, and then we're all on the phone. And we basically go through and edit all this and take the results of those meetings, send it to Michael Waite to come up with the draft, and then the next meeting we take that draft and go over it again and again. Usually it takes sometimes 3 or 4 times to get the thing right. What you see in front of you in black and white is what we're currently, one of the ones we're currently working on, and the black and white is the old. That's exactly what was on the old website about cryogenic perlite. And the color is probably about a third draft of where we are now on the new version. We've got a few more changes to make. We'll have at least one more meeting on this particular piece. And if everything looks correct and we have no more corrections, then we'll send it back to go live and add it on the website. So that's kind of the before and after. You can see in many cases, the old photographs were very outdated. We found numerous errors in the tables. When we have a large table that has a lot of data on it, we send it to David Yarborough, our ASTM engineering expert, and he reviews it and makes sure the data is correct. If there's any citations to be made, corrections, before we go live. So we want to be able to defend any data that we put on the website. I think the next thing to look at here is an example of what we did here is we've got a couple of those. What Denise is clicking now are what we call platforms. They're the general subject categories. And we redid the insulation platform this last year since New Orleans. And this is kind of an overview of insulation. This is what somebody clicks, and then as you scroll down here, you see the different subjects, the different specific papers that we have to talk about with insulation. Some of them show that they're updated, some of them are new, and these are some of the photos that
I'd like to point out that on the 2 pictures on the left, I think the top one was provided via somebody's camera at the
right.
meeting.
That was taken in New Orleans.
New Orleans. And the bottom one, I can't remember, came from you guys?
The bottom left was a stock photo, and I was just going to explain.
A stock photo. So we're a mix of individual contributions and actually purchasing photographs to use.
Some of these are member-provided photographs, and you'll see in the back of Perlite today, each edition you're going to see a little kind of a wanted, and you'll see what we're working on currently, and we're asking members if we, while we were working on mason refill installation, we were asking members, please email us any high-res photos you have of applications. We'll see if we can fit them in and use them. In this case, I know that the top and these 2 were provided by Supreme Perlite. That was a picture I took up of A and B groups portable furnace at the New Orleans show that they had down there. The lower left is a stock photo. Once in a while we just cannot find a photo, and you can go online and they have these stock photo sites where they have a lot of photos available. You pay a one-time fee of, it can be anywhere from like $20 to maybe $50 or $60, and then that gives you the right to use that photo on our publications. And so once in a while when we can't find anything else, we will go use a stock photo. I think if you look on the color copies you have in front of you of the high temp piece, you'll see there's one photo that says kind of you can read across the stock photo.
stock photo.
Yeah, that's because when we pay for it, that stock photo will disappear and it'll just real. So we finished this platform. Then amongst the other ones we completed since New Orleans is the cryogenic one, which is on here.
You may have to.
This is
No, it's
exactly,
just
this is a
taking
close-up of cryogenic perlite. Very realistic. Here we go. Again, there's another, that same photo. We will use the same photo sometimes in the cover of the platform as we do in the specific pieces. Normally when we have data like temperature or density or something like that, when we're talking about it in the text, in the body, we will use, pounds per cubic foot in the primary, and in the parentheses we'll put the metric equivalent. We're going to start now when we have a large table of data where you have lots of numbers. It gets pretty confusing to have all these numbers in parentheses. What we're going to do now is probably produce it in one form like English, and then we'll have a link and you click that and it goes to metric. And then you have the whole table in metric. So it won't be anywhere near as confusing. We're trying to make as many improvements as we can. Masonry filled perlite was another one we completed this year since New Orleans. Loose fill is what it's listed. But that's okay. And this one comes under the insulation category. Moving off the insulation, we had perlite for textured coatings was the last one we completed. That's in the construction. Denise went over to the platform on the left side and picked horticulture construction. All that's available down at the bottom of the homepage. Also, you'll see a perlite library. It's all available there. You also can, there's multiple ways you can get to the same information on the website. Now, I don't know if anybody here is really careful that was at New Orleans. This is the ceiling of our hotel. The inside ceiling, the textured coating of the hotel in New Orleans. So we'll go anywhere for photographs. So anyway.
Jerry, whose room was that in?
That was my room.
What are you doing with the camera looking at the ceiling?
So these are the ones that we've actually completed. The one you see in front of you that you have the hard copies of is very close to completion. At each one of our committee meetings, we're normally finishing one, kind of in midstream on another one, and just starting a third one. We're usually working on at least 2, if not 3 pieces at the same time. On our radar screen for the future, we're very close to, we're on our probably about 3rd draft of orchid growing, a piece on orchid growing. We have, and some of these aren't just updates of the old ones, some of these are new topics. We're having, we've got 2 related to environmental uses of perlite, one of which is cleaning up and absorbing sludges, and the other one which is handling filtration of stormwater runoff, whether it's through kind of specialized systems or like in the state of Washington and the west coast of the U.S., highway department now requires on new highways that they have a mixture of gravel, dolomite, and perlite running alongside in troughs alongside the new highway. So any runoff goes through that filter before it goes into the stream and keeping the stream water clean. This is to protect the migrating salmon. And that's now standard practice in the state of Washington. The state of Oregon, where I live, is now starting to adopt that as well. And it's being looked at and adopted in municipalities and a few other places around. So that's something that, you know, we felt if we wrote a piece on that, get other people to read it around the world, it might encourage people elsewhere to start looking at that same use of perlite. We're going to do also, we have on our calendar lightweight concrete, and we're going to do the horticultural platform is not really finished, so we're going to formalize that one. The last thing I would ask for is we need your help. Again, when you look at the perlite today bullet, you will see what we're working on, and we appreciate if you guys can look up and send us photos, any photos that we're looking for. We're always willing to have new volunteers serve on the committee. The more people that look at something, you know, the better the product is, the more eyes that are on it. And Denise told me to tell you to like us on Facebook and see her about what that means.
I'm determined to get Jerry on Facebook before it's all said.
That's right. Anyway, if you also have suggestions for new topics, feel free to email me. Contact information for myself and anybody else on the committee is in your handbook for the meeting here. And feel free, if you think that there's some subject that really we need to address sooner rather than later, just email me and we'll put it on our list. Like I said, we have a meeting about every probably 6 weeks. We try to, something like that, 6 or 8 weeks. So we're meeting fairly regularly. We've got, we have 39 old product guides left to go through. So we've got our work cut out for us, plus the new ones we're adding. So anybody have any questions? Okay, that's the report from the Communications Committee.